Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Obviously, we have a global audience for this podcast, and we're very happy to welcome everybody to the episode 2 of CTW Global Talks, and very proud for Dr. Rudy ShouShany to be joining us. He is the founder, producer, and host of DX Talks. So I want to just briefly give an intro to Rudy's extensive experience in the information and technology field, focusing on the financial sector with over 20 years of experience working with global organizations. His speciality in the kind of ICT governance, compliance, and strategy in cybersecurity and digital transformation in fintech has also made him one of the forefront speakers and strategists, and also certified professional in many areas. He has an extensive awards and leadership that have assisted and developed focus strategies for his clients. And obviously, as a board member, coach, and mentor for many startups, we're very proud to have him as obviously one of our moderators and host for our inaugural CTW Global Talks. And obviously now we'd like to kind of delve more into Rudy's mindset and his kind of vision of where his expertise will go into. So again, welcome Rudy, and thank you once again for kind of participating in our CTW Global Talks. Want to delve into a bit more about your experience. So if you can share your kind of journey to, for 2023 and beyond, and your last kind of 20 years of experience in the financial sector, and how that has kind of shaped your perspectives and your thought and your leadership in the space of the information technology area.
Thank you, Zahoor. When I look about the perspective of where I am today, because I'm finalizing my book on this, I wouldn't have thought that I'll be here, to be honest with you.
We're blessed.
yeah. And that's the beauty, because that was kind of a really enlightening discovery of how things progress if you wanted to progress. And that's where today my book is, and my message is, you have to be there, involve yourself there, push yourself to the limits. So when I started around 22 years, it was a very technical job in the IT. That was not what I wanted. And then I started, trying to enhance my skills, enhance who I am, my knowledge and everything, to try to push myself to another limit where I don't want to be too technical, but I'd like to understand the technicalities and move forward. And this is where we started in some management, and then in the financial sector, learning about the management, and then learning about how we can help bridge between the management and the tech, because these two languages, sometimes they don't click. And this is where I found myself. And then later on, I was lucky to be selected in an organization to lead or to be part of PwC leadership program. It's an 18-month program back in 2012, which is around 11 years ago. And that was an eye-opener for me, which changed my perception to everything. And since then, I've been on a extensive growth, self-growth, I would say, of knowledge, of management, of trying to bridge by myself. And this is where the last 4 years I've emerged as an entrepreneur, and I have my companies now. And my focus is really to aid companies to try to transform into the world of emerging technologies, because I've seen how the world is acting. I've seen what's latest. I've been lucky to be involved in the blockchain early on, more than 7 to 8 years now, and AI for a while. So now the hype of AI is here, but for it's been there for 70 plus years word, but
in different formats, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. So now it's more of how can we take all of the knowledge, all of the hardcore experience, and then help people and help companies and help organizations grow and then fit in today's digital world. Because we believe two things: from organizations information and digital world is first today. You cannot function today without this. The second part is the leadership, which a digital leader is the future of leadership of any organization. So we're working on both aspects, trying to help organizations with the strategy, cybersecurity, governance, cyber risk, and blockchain, AI, and so many other things to, put them in their organization and then lead them. Because when we go to organizations and then we start our exercise, we discover a lot of things that they never thought of, and it is a building block of any digital transformation. They are ongoing a digital transformation without data. How can you do that? So we have to go back some steps and then reignite that digital transformation journey in the right way and push it forward. So this is where I've been in the last technical background and in the last 4 years, focusing on the success of growth of companies and digital enablement of their organization.
No, that's fantastic. And obviously we've had many conversations prior in terms of how you impart that knowledge, that expertise to your client. And I think valid point that you made, that the industries that are going to be shaping the future, both from a corporate, from a market, from industry, it involves digital, not at just the forefront, but in all components of business and operations and, and kind of governance. So, looking at that particular kind of focus, how has that, the digital engagement, the digital inclusivity and transformation evolved, especially in the fintech industry? And on top of that, the cybersecurity, which you kind of mentioned, again, is rapidly growing, and compliance. How do all of those, fit into CTO's role and a CEO's role in the future in transforming strategic directives for companies and industry?
It's not longer CTO's role. That's just to make it clear. It's not longer CIOs and CTOs. The future leaders or the current leaders need to adapt to the world of the changing world. If you have a CEO who doesn't understand, he doesn't have to understand technicalities, but the concept of AI, how could he benefit? And then that's where the change management and the resistance from top down, because the least you have top down resistance, the more the company will move. The whole scene of technology has shifted a lot. And we see it with family businesses. We see the resistance with family businesses and older generation that they are not into the tech. And that's not their role, but understanding the technology or understanding the digital aspect has become a clear cut, because the success of any company today will be depending on the digital aspect. So if you don't have this, you will not be able to survive the same old ways you used to do. That's very simple, straight cut. So that's why you need to maybe a change in the management, change in advisory board, change yourself also. Age is not a barrier to anything. So we have to get those high leadership also updated or acquainted with those technologies and move forward. So especially the last 7-8 years, things have shifted a lot. It's no longer just on-site, it's on cloud. Things are moving much faster. Data is all over. How can you secure data? If you have one cyber risk or one attack or one breach of your data, technically you're out. This is according to statistics.
Indeed.
You'll be followed by legislation. You'll be followed by fines, and depending where was this data leaked, was it in Europe or was it in the Middle East or was it in the US or the Americas? It depends. You will be fined millions upon millions in dollars. And today, we're already running short on our profits. So having a fine can really not just the monetary value.
Absolutely.
It will cut definitely the margins, and most importantly, the reputation. Today's reputation, you've built a reputation over 50 years, which can be ruined within 1 second. So all of this has to be taken care of. It's no longer the same dynamics. It's no longer as easy as possible. It's no longer a pen or paper where you could have, do things or depend on people or whatever. It's way beyond this. Things has really transformed, in today's world, and then money is moving much faster scale, and goods are moving even faster. So how can we, be on the forefront of this, knowing that we are living in the age of not just technology, the age of information, and it's only gonna move forward
and faster.
In our prediction, we're on a pinnacle of tech superiority, but in reality, we're just starting another wave of a much faster innovation wave that will be onward, because we have something called Moore's Law. Moore's Law says technology is always doubling every year. All right. Moore died this year, and this technology or this theory has been there for the last 50, 60 years. When he died, this theory died with him, because we just entered the AI era, and soon we're entering the quantum era. And guess what? Quantum era is 1,000 plus faster, or 1,000 times faster than normal computers today. That's where they start. So imagine what's happening. Imagine the cyber attacks that will be coming already with AI. We're seeing waves of this. So things is about to change.
Sure. No, I think infrastructure, IT, ICT infrastructure, with obviously the support of the ecosystem of digital, is going to be very, very important. I want to pick up on that, but I think you mentioned something which obviously very, very relevant within the market that we operate in, within the GCC, is family office businesses, and they're going through a cultural change, a leadership change, just
right.
the entire framework of how those very large, successful family businesses that we're all very familiar with their brands, how they are changing and adapting to the leadership style changes, obviously with the new generation kicking in, but also how they're shaping the future of technology. How do you see those kinds of, especially that particular sector, that are operating in the financial sector especially, what kind of changes are needing to be addressed?
Yeah, that's a good question. And we have to divide this sector into two sides, because there are some family offices that have gone and adopted the latest technology. They didn't waste time. They understood it from the beginning that if we want to reinvent the wheel, that's going to take us too long to do it our way. They still do it their way, but they have adopted great frameworks. They have adopted, an open structure and so many things, and those are doing great. Whereas others, and then maybe more seasoned and incumbent organizations or family offices, this is where change come in, and this is where also the next generation is trying to put their thumbprint into this, to move things a little bit into this space. I've seen different cases, but most importantly, I would say the first skill is to get up there is the openness to change. If you acknowledge that change is a must, everything else will be easy. A change in the character, change in the mindset, change in the strategy. And this is what we first work on, because this is the first block. This is the first roadblock that we always get there. But good thing is, because the region is on a hype of a really economical volcano, positive one, so they need to see how this data, this new era of emerging technologies can help them, and especially optimize their payments, optimize their workflows, optimize their how they do their business stuff. So even though it's a family office, but it has to think as a corporate office more, because the new ways, or they will be disrupted. If tomorrow, especially with the world of fintech, you never know how a new fintech comes in. Was it local or regional, or coming from outside, and it will be licensed. And we're seeing this year, for example, in Saudi, a major shift in investments, and something we haven't seen before, when we're talking hundreds and hundreds upon hundreds of millions of dollars in fintech sector. So wow, that's something. 2 days ago there was a buy now pay later company that got funded heavily. So that is buy now pay later for the region is a new concept. So how can you compete. And this is where you wake up, oh, then we have to change. And this is our role and your role and the educational role and the consultant's role to really try to push those organizations to change, to see what's there, to enable them, to empower them, most importantly, because they are the decision makers. And then how we can become part of, not just part of the family office, but us becoming part of one big family, because we're all working towards an ultimate goal of the survival and shifting towards a future where everyone is quite positioned.
No, I mean, look, change, I think the pace of change has kind of organically moved in such speed that in itself is a challenge to most organizations, more so than family offices. But obviously change also brings inherent risks. And I think even this morning, there was a recent report in terms of the number of cyber attacks that have happened, especially within the GCC as a major target. They've increased considerably. So, in your area of expertise, Rudy, how does blockchain, really play an important and integral part in that, in terms of prevention, but also, maybe reducing the fraud and securing the authenticity of businesses like family offices and other sector businesses being able to trade internationally?
Indeed. We're blessed to have today a technology that is, foresighted. It's way beyond its time at this point of time.
Yeah.
Even though we had, digital signatures, we see them in our emails, document signing, and so many other things for decades. It's not something new. But the whole concept of how a transaction can pass in a super secure way today has changed. Now, before cyber attack, or cyber attacks in general, or securing our data, we have to talk about trust. And that's today, I think the most important topic is really trust. How can I trust you and you are somewhere else? So building that
trust between consumer and the corporate brand or the company. Okay.
B2B, B2C on different aspects. Okay, especially with B2B. Let's say I want to move items from China, from the US, from Europe, wherever to Middle East. There's no, previous relationship. So how can we build that trust? Okay, this is where the blockchain today is playing that role of authenticating everything about our transaction on a system that can be transparent to all, immutable to change because you cannot delete the transactions, and most importantly, that gives you a high encryption algorithm where you cannot, you need to change the world before you break this technology at this point. So working on the trust is a must, because having blockchain related transactions where I can see the bill of lading, I can see the payments, I can see everything in a transparent way, but in the same time, immutable. So I'm not trusting a person anymore who can change all of this in between the transaction and now. I'm trusting systems that are authenticating this. And we're talking thousands upon thousands of systems. So we cannot compete on it. Now, going back to cybersecurity, because that part is really related to that part. Yes, cybersecurity attacks has grown by X folds as we speak. And the more we digitize, the more we will fall victims of cyber attacks. And the problem is, according to studies again, hackers sometimes stay in an organization more than 280 days unnoticed. 280.
Wow.
So
nearly close to a full calendar year. That's
exactly.
Damaging.
That's hugely damaging. Other than those one attack things, but then they study your network, then they study your employees, and this is the most sophisticated attacks that happened in history. They were done this way. We remember one of the most famous global transaction mover. They got hacked upon billions in that space. Unfortunately, without blockchain, you cannot, control this. But still, cybersecurity is not blockchain only. It's about how you protect your data. Where is your data? The mentality of where do you store your data? Is it secure by design? Is it How is your employees accessing it? Multi-factor authentication today is playing a key in any transaction that has a customer involved in. Because right now, hypothetically, we can hack your computer, and then whatever password you put, we can grab it. All right, was it on the keyboard or any other means? But you have multi-factor authenticators that the passwords are changing every 60 seconds. It becomes nearly impossible, because now you cannot access the system without this code, which I have it. So it's no longer something in my mind, it's something I have. So those new practices, forming firewalls, hard firewalls to access open networks. Before, they used to have, not long ago, we're talking before a couple of years, and now it's a requirement that their system used to be open to public networks or the general network inside organizations. So everybody can access. I don't have the bad intention, but at least some rogue computer in the network can access it. So all of this, when we talk about secure by design, and this needs knowledge, because if you are not by default acknowledged in this, you will not do it. So that's why the regulators are jumping in and forcing these regulations. Otherwise, guess what? We lack to pay extra money to secure this is a general behavior of humans in terms of their position as a CTO, CIO, even CEOs. They don't understand this language, so they don't care about it. And then all of a sudden, you're hit, and what happens then?
No. Well, I mean, I think with the the pace and phenomenal change within the financial sector, I think the opportunity for those kind of bad actors are more prevalent. I think they're going to continue because the market is expanding, and as our organization, really, we operate in 9 countries around the world. We've got brands, products that focus on different sectors, and one of the things that we always get asked is that how does the government play a role in assisting global trade? And that's what CTW Global Trade is all about, in terms of highlighting the opportunities of the GCC of the UAE. But government and governance plays a phenomenal role. Are you seeing the governments within the regions? Are they embracing blockchain? Are they embracing AI? Are they embracing those kind of measures that not only protect the national strategy and the economy, but also the companies and the countries that they trade with?
Sure. If I want to say in general, the answer is no. In specific, yes, UAE is the leader and the leading country in this space. They have initiated especially in Dubai, the Dubai 2021 digital Dubai, and 70 to 80% of their transactions are done on a blockchain. So this is something excellent. Funny enough, I've been involved into multiple organizations in the UAE, also on the port, that they are trying to see and shift some of their processes to blockchain. But now we're talking one country. What about the rest of 22 Arab countries, if we want to call it this way?
And there's such a range of security national agendas that is going to take a long time to align. I think that's going to be one of the critical challenges of the region. And
the economical power plays a big role. That's why I'm working with the United Nations, for example, on this specific topic, right? Pushing the global trade on blockchain. And we've done a couple of studies in the region and a couple of POCs also in the region, trying to, bring not just solutions, but capacity building, understanding of how they can. We published a guide 2 months ago about a blockchain in trade as a general guideline of how to think, so that they can start thinking about it. As I said, as a straight cut through in the region, it's unfortunately not there yet as it's happening, but it is coming slowly. If it's not coming on a global scale, it will not come locally. So we need this on a global scale, and this is where I hope with the United Nations now taking a lead on this, we might be having a better success stories, because they have tried blockchain before and technically they have failed on a global scale, and IBM was the leader in this, and then there was some other initiatives, and they spent billions upon billions, but nothing successful came in. So now I hope that the UN, because it's global agenda, it's global policy, could have a breakthrough into this, and then elevate the needs and elevate the global trade itself using blockchain, because guess what, we need it. Fraud, for example, on the bill of lading is huge. We have ships that stand in the sea and they change their bill of lading
halfway through.
This is happening today.
Or in transit, of course. Yes.
In transit. Yes. Fake products. There's a lot of things that Ministry of Economies, Ministry of Trades, those are the key drivers of how to secure where was this product made. We don't know, because it comes and then it gets relabeled and it goes away. So we don't have that certificate of authenticity, certificate of origin. Even we get produced a certificate, but we don't know who produced it, what was changed, and all of this needs blockchain in its essence. So hopefully, yes, the agenda is somehow heating up. Not there yet, but it's coming. That's where we need more of you also.
No, I think that's one of the, obviously, we launched CTW Global in September in 2023, and we're very excited that we'll be back again in October and DWTC in October. And the mandate for platform focusing on all of the key sector, and obviously one of the biggest sectors is digital e-commerce. And obviously this is where I think every industry needs to incorporate that as part of their business and sales strategies. They need to understand it, but then that kind of opens up an entire can of worms in terms of, okay, well, what is the latest technology? What is the digital transformation strategy in space I need to kind of really, what are you seeing for 2024 really, where, companies and organizations that are listening into this talk now, what is the advice that you can say to them? Well, this is the area, this is the focus of digital transformation space that you really need to be prepared for.
Yeah, well, having a journey of digital transformations should start with a roadmap and should start with a strategy. That's the building block. If they don't have this, working ad hoc basis will bring you ad hoc results. So that's a key foundation. Now, going into the technologies itself, we have top 10 emerging technologies that are taking off as we speak. AI, blockchain, IoTs is something, especially in trade, where Internet of Things could monitor any type of shipment tracking, or even on the e-commerce side or whatever. Now we're using those solutions in smart cities. And guess what? How many smart cities we have in the Arab region now? Just in Saudi, we have 8. So what are we doing for those? Yeah, they just popped up.
Overnight with investments. Yeah. So
what are we working to cater those smart cities? Working with a smart city is not a normal city where we have to also develop new procedures, new policies, new ways of thinking, new innovations also with that. Now we're talking about printing houses. So
3D
there's a lot of
is
things.
Amazing.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that they must put on their radar, but they have to go back to the basics. This is most important. If you have the basics, start looking into those and venturing more. For example, if your strategy for 2024, because possibly many of the companies or organizations, they were late to add the AI last year because it came out in end of November. Out of the sudden, nobody knew about it, or at least some of the viewers didn't know about it, so they didn't put it in their strategy. They started studying it in 2023. Now, this is an item that it should be on the 2024 agenda, just AI as a simple base, because you need to start building your data warehouse, data lake, whatever you want to call it, because AI, with all of its greatness, without any data you have, worthless. So that's where you start building blockchain. You define, because blockchain doesn't fit for everything. You define which process. So don't take it as a hype. Well, yeah, we need blockchain for everything. Not necessarily, but do venture on how you can enhance, for example, digital identity, security, authentication, login, access identity, transactions. Start evaluating certain transaction. And please, when we say blockchain, it's not related to cryptocurrency, so that we don't confuse both, because usually when we say that, directly. But guess what? Cryptocurrencies are being regulated, and they are regulated in UAE as much as you want. So even on the regulation side, you have the go green. So don't worry about this. But do work on really the most innovative part. Not becoming a follower later on to technology and then be disrupted yourself. Because today we are on a survival. We are really fighting for survival in a world where it's hard to survive anymore. There's a lot of things being bombarded from us, and the bigger fish are eating the smaller fish. And when we talk bigger fish and smaller fish, both of them are making billions of. So it's not just any fish, it's whales.
Yeah, exactly. Unicorns to whales, indeed. All right. Look, I think we are very lucky in the space that we're operating in, and more importantly, in the region and country that we are in. And I think when I'm traveling around and talking to different governments and industry in Africa and MENA and Asia, very few of them acknowledge and really value that we have a minister of AI in the UAE. Yeah. I mean, that shows, I think, the foresight and the vision and the leadership of that. This is going to be an important element of an economy. So again, we're very proud to obviously have that. And I think
let me add something. His Excellency Omar has been chosen on the UN to lead the AI committee. So this is last. So imagine having this role. This is the only role in the world, by the way. So how far-sighted the UAE is.
Wonderful.
It is wonderful. And then I advise you to go and visit the Future Museum to discover Dubai.
I've been there many times.
2070, sorry. I don't know if you've seen it.
No, I've seen it.
But look at where things are heading, this, not just the smart cities, but where the future is heading to get to field. And I get you towards, unfortunately, underprivileged or developing countries. We need to help on that front. There's a lot of innovation. There's a lot of grants. There's a lot of, financial aid where they can be supported by to elevate that standard. But we need more to push those agendas so that we can all benefit. Take it as an opportunity, not as a threat, and then elevate the level of our, societies in technology.
That's fantastic. Well, on that note, Rudy, I think we've kind of wrapped up this particular session. On a final edition, I think we would be very, hopefully get an exclusive when your book arrives. Please let us know so we can help to promote it. I'm sure it'll be a wonderful read for all of our guests. So again, on another kind of area of thank you to Rudy again for sharing his insight and being part of our, CTW Global Talk Networks. Rudy will again be hopefully joining us as one of the key panelists and speakers, and obviously hopefully delivering a high-profile keynote address this year and next year at our CTW Global taking place in October 22nd to the 23rd in DWTC. And on that note, we will thank everybody for listening in, and please stay tuned for more CTW Global Talks. And always, please reach out to all of our guests, including obviously Rudy on his DX Talks. And I'm sure you'll find incredibly engaging podcast sessions there as well. Rudy, thank you once again, my dear friend, and we'll hopefully see you very soon.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. And hopefully we'll see you not on October, just before October also, because what you're doing is really amazing.
God bless. Thank you, my dear friend.